industry in Europe in 2025. That is our topic of podcast today. We have our guest today, Cyril Châtelet.
You're right.
Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you, Kaisa. Morning, everyone. Paiva. Sorry for my Finnish because it's not so good. So I learned this word today. So
perfect.
Thanks for hosting me today and to your famous podcast.
Thank you.
Really happy to be there, and especially I think that I bring the sun with me. So that's a good news as well.
Yes. Okay. The Easter is coming and the spring.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, but let's just dive to it. So Europe and cars, that's our topic today. So three big trends in car industry now.
In fact, you have many trends, but I think that if we want to tackle the three big ones, and maybe four, but let's say for the three big ones, the first one is the green transitioning led by the EV transitioning, which is a massive one and a massive trend, and we need to support everyone in it. The second one for me will be for sure what I will call also for the B2B business, the budget optimization, because this is linked also to the EV transitioning. I will say that in the same time, we see for the B2C customers a move from the ownership to usership. And I think that we're going to tackle this point. And the third one definitely is which is a new trend, is the introduction of new OEMs, new brands on the European market, mainly coming from Asia. And this is something completely new because nothing happened during decades with new brands coming on the market. And in a couple of years, you have many brands happening and coming on the market with disruptive approach in terms of product offer, but also in terms of distribution model. So those are the 3 to 4 trends that I can foresee and explain to you.
Yes. But let's dive deep into the trends. Right? And let's start with the green transition and mobility. Because, here in the Nordic countries like Finland, EVs are growing all the time. I think in Norway it's around 90%.
You're right.
Yes.
For the passenger cars, because you have PC and the light commercial vehicles. So for the PC it's 90%. Yeah.
So my question first is, what is the situation of EVs in the Middle Europe and South Europe?
It's completely different from a country to another. I will say that if you're looking at Eastern Europe, the lowest one is at 2.4, which is Slovakia, and the highest one is maybe around 5 to 6%. So you can see that those countries are not yet on the EV topic. They are on the EV topic, but maybe this is something that takes a bit of time to get it. And then you have some countries in the middle between 13 to 19%. So definitely the northern countries are much more in advance on that topic. They started first, I will say it that way, and that could explain also it. And maybe the southern country are a bit more hesitating on those kind of topics. Well,
how do you expect the situation develop within 5 years, let's say?
I think that it will keep growing. The simple fact is that the EV wins the battle by the law. So that means that we have no choice if we want to reach the CO2 emissions by 2035. That's the first point. If you are looking at the EV share in Europe last year, on the total registration, it was more or less 15%, 1.5. So which is already significantly massive. So definitely it will grow because this is the technology that has been chosen to reach the target. That's as simple as that.
Okay, but what do you think is needed for the EVs to grow in Europe? Although we have the EU regulation and CO2 emission
you have different topics. Maybe two to three things. The first one is that the product offer is improving. So that will explain that the EV will grow because you have much more product on the market. You have premium product, affordable product, mainstream one, different model size, and so on. The second point is maybe linked to the range. the range is improving massively, which is something which is key to avoid anxiety to the customers and the drivers. You have also stronger fast charger capabilities or fast charging capabilities. So meaning that today you can recharge your EV up to 80% in 20 minutes. And you even have some brands that propose now some solution when you can have more than 450 kilometers in 5 minutes. So that will help. So that's product-wise. More products, different kind of products, and better range and faster capabilities to recharge. But you have also the roles of the government and the way to incentivize this transitioning, because today, I think that we need to get more clarity, more visibility on the taxation scheme, governmental incentives. So from a country to another, it can change from a year to another. So it's a bit difficult for someone, B2B or B2C, to say what I'm going to do. Do I have to jump or not? So that's one. Get more clarity and stability. I would say that the second one for me as well will be, of course, the charging network. Okay. If you are looking at the map and the situation in Europe, 61% of the charging station in Europe are only in 3 countries. So we need to make in the West. So that means that we need to make sure that at least when you travel, you have some charging points available to recharge your car. So that's the basic stuff, but that's something which is needed. And I may say that we are coming from years of easy travel. You have more range, was easy to fuel your car. You go to the pump, you fuel it, and that's fine. So you need to make something which is perceived as complex. You need to make it simple. And that's the job that we have to do at Drivalia as well. Make things simple to help our customers to support this transitioning.
And to teach them.
And to teach them.
And we talk about the mentality change. Because the EVs, like you said, are a little bit different. Okay, but we see now in Finland that some companies are allowing only EVs in their car policy. How does this... Is it similar in other European countries?
I will say that.
What do you think about that?
This is a trend. Okay. The question is how you manage the trend and how you manage it, because you have more and more companies willing to move to this EV transitioning for obvious reasons. And fact is that they say now you have to take full EV cars and that's it. But you have 2 ways of seeing the things and make it happen. Either you say you force people, and maybe it's a way, but you need to start by example. So that means that boards and top executives need to start by themselves to show the example. But you also need to foster the adoption. And I'm clearly convinced about it, because it's a change. So you need to make sure that the change is something that is nice for the people. So usually the way to do it is to have longer test drive, because it's nice to drive an EV for a couple of hours, but if you don't live with an EV for a week, you don't know how it's going to fit to your habits
in everyday life.
In everyday life, as you mentioned. So I think it's good to organize some long test drive, and this is something that we can do at Drivalia, to see how you have to recharge when you need to recharge and this kind of stuff. The second topic would be for me to have a nice car policy. Because if you can see that you can get a nicer car, more equipped with more features inside, you will be a bit more ready to jump to jump on it. So I will say, of course, you need to impulse. That's definitely something which is key. But you need to support and help people to adopt. Okay, but it's a trend. And we need to make it happen, and we need to support for that.
Okay, but the next trend is the Chinese brands or the other brands than European that are coming to the European market. But the topic is very hot at the moment in the market, and especially the Chinese brands. So do you have some figures? What is the amount of Chinese brands in Europe at the moment?
I don't have all the figures, but the thing I can say is that if you are looking at the first 10 months of 2024, you had a bit more than 600,000 Chinese cars being imported in Europe. If you are looking at the market share in the total registrations, the Chinese brand are more or less at 3.7 to 4% market share, which is a 50% increase compared to last year. So it's a massive one.
Very big.
So it's big. So it's getting better. And you have more or less 20 Chinese brands on the European market. But always keep in mind that in their country, you have a bit more than 160 automotive brands with different kind of positioning, going from the mainstream one to the most luxury one and a bit more premium in between. You have everything, different kind of size and so on. So coming back, Chinese are improving a lot their market share on the market because they have some product offer that fits to the needs of the market and the legislations.
Yes. So we can expect that the cars are coming even more, or brands are coming.
I think so.
Okay, but how do you expect the situation to develop, or what could be the showstoppers for the
I think that the trend is there, and it's always good to have competition because it's a way to create new things, reinvent yourself, and so on. And rather than speaking about the showstoppers, I will say that the clear point is to set the basic. When you have a new brand coming on the market, and it's true in any kind of industry, I may say, the first thing is that you need to have a clear vision of what you want to accomplish. What is your customer promise? Make it known. So develop the awareness, that's for sure. Being very strong on the and being at the state of the art, on the edge for the services that you're gonna provide. And of course, being very clear on your distribution model. You want to go through a dealer network. They want to go for direct sales. I'm clearly convinced that the proximity is the key. Because we are all humans, so we need to interact, and we need to be more phygital, I will say. So my key point and my key takeaway is that you need to create the trust. And to create the trust, you need to arrive with the classical setup to make sure that people are willing to jump into your story. That's for me as simple as that.
Like with any other product or service, you need to look at the commercial basic things first, and then you can accelerate, and you can push forward. But that is true that basics are the ones that you need if you want to get this trust. Yes. Okay, but the final trend we're going to talk about today is the different ways of acquiring a vehicle nowadays. Because there is purchase, of course. You can buy a car, but then you can have a benefit car if you have a possibility, or private lease, or share and subscribe services.
Many things.
There's so many things. So why is it that we have so many options nowadays? What has happened?
Coming back to the product, if you are looking at a car today compared to a car even 20 years ago, they are bigger. They have more and more safety equipment on it, which is great. You can have also more, I would say, entertainment features in it. You can have Apple CarPlay. You can even watch a movie, music, everything. Not for the driver, but for the comfort of the passengers. That's clear. And you have the switch to EV. So that means that all those features at the end lead to a massive increase in terms of pricing of the car. If you're looking over the last, and I'm a French guy, so I'm going to talk about the French market, but if you're looking over the last 5 to 6 years, on average, the car increased by 35%. So meaning that getting a car is less affordable than before. And clearly you have this move of saying, okay, maybe it's better for me to rent a car than owning it. Definitely. And linked to the novelties that you have also within the car with these new features in it, people are willing also to get access to these features. So they want to change a bit more often. But in the meantime, that's true that the car park is aging. in Europe. We are at 12.5 years on average, which is quite a lot, especially when you're looking at the CO2 emission. So the leasing is a clear opportunity for that.
Yes. Okay, but about the private lease in Finland and in the other Nordic countries, it has been increasing quite a bit in the past few years. How is it in other European countries?
The trend is also coming on this one, also linked to some legislations related to the loans. If you're looking, for example, in France, next year the leasing will definitely boom due to the legislations. Due also to what I mentioned earlier about the trend and people willing to change more often the cars and not having or taking the risk. So private lease, B2B leasing will grow. If you're looking at the study, there is a recent study mentioning that for the next 8 years, the average growth per year should be 6%.
Okay.
So which is in Europe.
Okay.
So every year you have 6% more leasing on the market. So that's a significant increase, and it will tackle all the segments and B2C, B2B, and everyone, and all kind of cars.
Yeah. Well, it's an easy way to use a car.
Yes. Because one of the big advantage of the leasing is that this is something which is predictable. You know that you're going to pay 300, 400, 500 bucks a month with the services that you are willing to have in it.
All the maintenance and everything.
So that means that in your mind, you know that you won't pay more. And you don't have to take care of the reselling of the car at the end of the contract. So that's something which is it's a nice way, and it's seamless for you. I would say it's an easy experience to onboard in mobility. So that's definitely a trend that will grow for all the reasons that we mentioned earlier.
In all European countries.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but if we come back to this day, what are the most typical ways of using a car in Europe? Still,
it's
2025.
It depends from a country to another, but on average, you have around 1/3 to 40% in leasing. And the rest is through different kind of acquisitions, such as loans and so on. But I mean that between 33 to 40%.
Yes. Okay.
That's it.
But leasing is increasing.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk briefly about share and subscribe services. They're not that popular yet in Finland. How do you see them developing in Nordic countries, Europe?
I think the subscription will grow much more than the car sharing. Because the profitability of the business, to be clear, is different. And you have more and more people looking for flexible solution. So you want a car, but you don't want to engage for 3 to 4 years. You want to be able to change it depending of your needs. So that's true that today, the subscription is for a minimum of 1 month. And then you can bring back the car whenever you want. And it's a good product, because if you need a car for 2 to 3 months, you can get it and then you can give it back. If you're a B2B customers and you have an extra business coming, could be for LCV or for PC needs, but you have this extra business for 6 months,
like a project or something,
like a project, and you need a bunch of cars. That's the opportunity to get cars for a short period of time without committing for several years. So the subscription for me is a clever one, and we can see that this trend is growing a lot. This is something that we propose at Drivalia in some countries, and the trend is a steady growth, I would say. The car sharing, I'm a bit more skeptical, to be clear, because it's much more difficult to manage in terms of logistic standpoint. You know, you have free floating, you need to get some agreements with the cities, you need to get the car being cleaned on a regular way, because if you enter into a car and it's a bit dirty, it's not so nice. So it's a bit much more difficult to handle. What I believe in is that the car sharing can be useful for the B2B business, meaning that you have a fleet of LCV, for example, LCVs, and they are not allocated to a specific driver, and you need to make sure that you optimize the utilization of your fleet. So by having the right app and being able to open the car or the LCV by getting a remote app or something like that, and book it for a couple of hours or one day, maybe it's a good way to optimize also your fleet. So subscription will go more and more, I would say. Car sharing, I think that it will progressively move also to the B2B, to my point.
So there is place for both of them, but maybe with different target groups.
Exactly. Because subscription, you can do it B2B, B2C, definitely. Car sharing, you have it, and we have it, but I can see that we have a bit more demand from B2B. That's the point.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing these services also in Finland.
Me either. Me either.
Okay, but thank you so much, Cyril, for joining our podcast today. It was a pleasure to hear about the rest of the Europe.
Thank you, Kaisa. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us, and I hope that you will knock at the door of Drivalia, because we have a very nice team, very passionate, skill as well, and you want to serve very well the people and the customers. And this is in your DNA, and I'm not saying that because I'm there, but this is the truth when we are looking at your customer survey. So feel free to connect with us, and see you soon. Thank you, Kaisa.
Thank you, and thank you for listening.